Dark Red Film Festival is back for another year, and John Broadhead is presenting his film, The Art Painting, at this year's event. We stopped by the Guild Cinema, one of the festival's venues, to talk about the film and what he loves about the process. John, thank you for meeting with us today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
So,
thank you for having me.
You're one of the filmmakers taking part in Dark Red.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually wanted to start with you. You are from here. You're a local filmmaker.
I am.
What do you feel is the reason that New Mexico is like the best backdrop for film?
There's a very unique, just speaking of the vibe, the sort of landscapes here, the desert, in my experience, provides a lot of, I feel like there's something starkly beautiful about the landscape here, even about the people here. There's just a hard edge to it,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, which allows for some very intense storytelling, and just put the camera on the desert landscape at sunset, and it just evokes something very powerful, something wanderlusty, and it brings out some sense of angst and restlessness, and it just, I don't know, that's always been a very creative motivation for me, inspiration.
And when it comes to the genres of film that you could be making, what draws you? What do you usually go towards?
In recent years, I've been writing a lot more dark comedy, which is actually what the art painting is dark comedy meets sci-fi, meets psychological thriller. And dark comedy is something that allows me to really delve into some of the darker aspects of human nature, but without getting bogged down in some of the more like really disturbing elements that you find in horror most of the time. Dark comedy is a fun way of addressing very honest issues, but also without letting the feel of the film sink into something that becomes too uncomfortable.
Well, tell us about the art painting. Tell us a little bit more about this film.
I wrote the art painting about a year before we shot it, so early on in 2022. And my entire impetus for sitting down to write it was very simple. I just wanted to write something that involved one character in one room. So, every indie filmmaker is like, what could I do with that? But I also wanted to take that very simple concept and give it a fresh spin. So quickly I found myself writing something that was this nightmarish trip that, while functioning as a dark comedy, also sort of becomes this classist commentary on the elitism of, I guess, high art culture, and how there's this sort of separation between people who consider themselves artists and people who actually are kind of down in the dirt, like creating art from their soul. And so in some ways it's a commentary on the artistic process, but it's a film that I think takes some really fun, unexpected turns.
What is your favorite part of the process?
It's hard for me to separate the parts, because I always approach a project as someone who writes and directs and edits my own films. Of course, in collaboration with a team of extremely talented people, and I couldn't do it without cinematographer Yanis and my gaffer Charles Davies, and just the cast, of course. But when I approach it, it's all one part of the artistic process, the writing and the directing and the editing. It's all the same thing. Like, in a sense, when I'm editing the film, it feels like a continuation of the screenwriting process. It's just a natural flow, and this is where it has come out.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
But that being said, I do think my favorite part of that process is taking the footage that we've gathered and beginning to edit it, where I finally start to see the final form come together. And I think a lot of filmmakers would probably agree with me that's a lot of the stress of production is behind you, and now you're just sitting down and watching it take shape, and you're like, this is the thing that I've been putting together, that we've all been here doing. We're finally seeing it here, and then sending rough cuts to the cast and crew and seeing their responses to it, being like, oh, this is exciting. Now we see what we've been working on, it's a really positive experience.
So what do you want the audience to walk away feeling after seeing your film?
I want them to walk away feeling a little bit. I think people's reactions are going to be different. Some people are going to be laughing a little. Some people are going to feel a little bit disturbed. It's a film that ends on a different note. I can't say too much without spoiling it.
Absolutely.
But that's one of the fun things about doing projects that are very, very indie, in that you're not obeying the rules of one specific genre. You're not abiding by the tropes that a lot of films need in order to function in Hollywood. You're able to get away with a lot of different storytelling techniques. And so every film that I make is kind of an experiment to see how people are going to respond. Mm-hmm. And, I think I told a story that feels to me very honestly human, which is all I ever hope a movie, will feel, is that it's honest. And so I hope ultimately that people walk away feeling entertained.
This is the best thing they can leave.
That's at the end of the day, that's all I can hope for.
Well, John, thank you for joining us again today, and we're looking forward to seeing the film.
Thank you so much.